Employers of Reddit, what jobs are you finding to be impossible to fill?
Teaching jobs. At my school, we've had multiple teachers quit throughout the year and could never replace them, so we just replaced the class. One of our foreign language teachers quit, so they just forced all the students to take French instead, with every class having at least 35 students. I just looked a few minutes ago, and we still have 10 plus positions open for the next school year, which starts in 3 weeks. We're stuck between two districts that have higher salaries and way better benefits. Teachers usually try to go to one of the other two.
Nurses, huge supply and demand problem here in the UK.
I'd like to give a big thank you to the Conservative Party for their belief in how good our nurses are, that they can do the job of 3 people. It is truly heartwarming to see the faith they have.
The company I work for has been trying to fill a dispatcher position for over a year and a half now, part-time, evening shift. They're not offering competitive pay, and everyone is suffering for it. Trying to get someone for $1 over minimum wage for a job that should start a good $5 to $7 per hour, more is painful to watch. They're either incompetent, or realize really quickly what the job entails, and book it out of here.
It's amazing how it never occurs to some managers to raise the compensation when they're struggling to fill a job. The economist Dean Baker writes a lot about this, for example here. Basically, he quips that a lot of managers and business owners who complain about a skills shortage are in fact suffering from a shortage of skills, namely their understanding of basic labor economics.
This is why every pilot in the world almost has their eyeballs fall out of their sockets from rolling their eyes so hard, every time they see a bullshit story about a pilot shortage. There is no pilot shortage. But there is a shortage of pilots willing to start out at $25,000 a year, which is insane considering how much it costs to become commercial certified, and how little financial aid there is for training. Edit. It seems that I have some outdated information from the recession. Apparently, pilots are starting out above $30,000 these days, with sign-on bonuses. That's good news for me.
Louisville, Kentucky, is a foodie paradise, but there is currently a shortage of restaurant workers. One restaurant group spokesman was in the newspaper as saying something like,
"My line cooks can make $17, and I don't have a shortage of workers. Maybe these businesses complaining should take a look at their low wages?"
I literally went to his restaurant. Because of that quote, I support common sense.
In this thread, jobs that pay like surprisingly, don't have lots of people applying for them.
Yeah. Guy asking for roofers that starts at $10 an hour, bust your back and your knees and be unable to work, by the time you're 40 years old, and you'll be rich on that pay scale.
It's okay, they just work 80 hours a week, to make up for the lower pay.
Construction manager here. The demand for construction is here, but the workers left during the recession and don't want to come back to repeat history.
I'm in this boat, worked for 12 years as a carpenter, loved it. Work fell off in 2009, held on as long as I could, lost my business and house, gained 2 kids, went back to school in 2011 to support the family. Now I work in IT, no way I'm giving up the salary and benefits. I miss construction so badly, though.
This is truth. Finding decent tradesmen these days are almost impossible. The good ones are getting all the work they can / choose to handle, the ones that suck aren't worth the damage they do to your business. Kids are not learning the trades and the people who have the skills are getting older. I can't imagine what the labor pool for skilled tradesmen will look like in 10 years, but at this rate it is going to be a complete show.
I've never worked construction, so don't know what the conventions are on that side of the trades, but I've been noticing lately, as I've been looking to switch trades, that several of the things that feed the trade seem to have kind of broken down. The top 2 being that reputable trade schools are increasingly rare, and the traditional apprenticeship system is kind of vanishing in some fields. Willingness to train people up seems to be in steep decline.
I need someone with the wisdom of a 50-year-old, the experience of a 40-year-old, the drive of a 30-year-old and the pay scale of a 20-year-old, also, 25 years experience for an entry-level position, that will require 17 obscure certificates, a security clearance that we will not sponsor, and a lie detector test. Edit. I have too many applications. I also require 10 years experience, On a technology that's only been out for 3 years.
Or, we expect you to go through 3 interviews, convince everyone in the office that you can do what you say you can do and we won't be paying you enough for this. Furthermore, we expect you to have these interviews in the middle of the day when we know you can't get off from your current job. Then for the final interview we expect you to show up within 24 hours of the obscure email, convince the owner of the company's daughter that you are worth the job she barely even knows exists, and also we've decided to offer you just above minimum wage, because, and I quote,
journalists shouldn't expect to get paid much.
like, holy shit lady, $1,000 a month, and you expect me to go towards the guns that are firing and you dare to pull attitude on me?
Looking for a recent college grad for entry-level position, offices located in Midtown Manhattan, must be available for salaried 40-hour week in addition to regular overtime and be on call during weekends, 2+ years professional experience with C, C++, JavaScript, Perl, IBM 360 punch cards, Ruby on Rails, HTML, Assembly, Fortran, Adobe Creative Suite, Excel, and Python required. 2+ years experience with our proprietary, custom-built software, mandatory, must have ACDL with clean driving record and 4+ years experience, unpaid probationary trial period of 6 months, salary is $18.5K per year.
One big problem, and I see it echoed in this thread, is that employers don't want to train, companies just don't want to invest in their workers anymore, they only want to hire experienced workers, they don't want to apprentice, and if they do, they don't want to pay for it, they expect colleges to do all of this for them. What I've found is that college can't fulfill this role, even though colleges sell themselves as if they can. College can only teach you basic, hard and maybe some soft skills that can maybe get one's foot in the door. If employers want good employees that will stick around, employers need to be willing to train and pay employees well even in training, and not dole out crazy or unrealistic workloads, or an otherwise toxic environment. Training will make them good, specific to your industry and company, and the pay and positive work environment will help them stay. Employers don't want to train.
That's a big one. I've seen companies turn good people away, because they lacked some skill they could pick up in 3 weeks. The expectation, especially for those 30+, is that they have to be experts in all the tools the company uses.
At my hotel, housekeeping. No one wants to clean up after the nastiest animals on the planet, plenty of hours and reliable work to be had, but no one wants to do it. They should be paid more, I guess, or people could just be less disgusting.
It's both. People need to be more respectful when staying in hotels, and housekeepers need to be paid a lot more to make that gross work worthwhile.
Rant alert. It also doesn't help when you get 1 or 2 good housekeepers with a great work ethic, but they get overworked and quit, because all the other housekeepers are, frankly, crap people who never wanted to work anyway and just no show until they get fired. Then suddenly you're at the front desk, alone, calling temp agencies to find anyone, preferably 2 anyones, willing to clean 30 rooms a day for the next 2 weeks, because you're sold out, and that's how long the hiring process is, because background checks take forever. It's always the county background that takes longest. Fed and state are fast, lazy local government bureaucrats. During the busiest week of the year, does corporate send help? No. Does your boss work overtime to help? No. She takes the week off, sick, because she's been overworked to hell too. But come on. You're paid twice as much as me. Stop complaining. So then you're stuck running the entire hotel alone, and while running the front desk, which in itself is very stressful for reasons you cannot imagine, you constantly have to leave, and try to clean rooms too, because the people sent from the temp agency didn't do it all. Or is this just my hotel? All, because housekeeping does not attract good workers, and the pay simply isn't enough.
Anyone want to be a school bus driver? Good. Do you have a valid CDL? Any DUIs? Criminal record? Oh, okay. Never mind. Literally anyone, please.
I worked as a school bus driver in a Midwestern state. Got paid just over $100 per day and worked about 5 hours per day total. Sounds pretty great, but you only work 180 days per year.
The strip mall down the street from my work is having trouble hiring security guards who don't sell drugs.
I would like to be a security guard.
Great. But you can't sell drugs.
Fuck that noise.
Truck drivers, most of the people on the road are in their 50s to 60s, they are starting to retire or die. It's even hard to find contract drivers to help on busy delivery days. Edit, just because billion-dollar trucking companies might get automated in the next 20 years, doesn't mean most companies can, or will. That doesn't even touch on the inevitable regulations by the Department of Transportation, which will almost certainly require a human behind the wheel in case of an emergency. On top of that, you'll have a CDL. Even if automation does take over, that alone will net you decent paying jobs relative to other jobs that don't require a college degree.
It's mainly because the hours are long, the trips are long, and it's a pretty dangerous job. Young people see that and avoid it.
There is actually a lot of young people getting into driving. Living rent-free and making money in your home appeals to a lot of young guys having a hard time making their way through life. The problem is that truck driving doesn't pay anymore.
My valet company is having an incredibly hard time filling supervisor positions at locations that are slow and you don't do anything for 12 hours, 15 per hour, though part of the reason why it's hard is because they want these people to be educated.
People get educated so they don't have to work as a valet super for $15 per hour. They call them unicorns for a reason, but people with both programming plus design skills. They're rare and few between, but it's pretty much an instant hire if you have both. They really help bridge the gap between dev/design teams, and are almost always in demand.
People laughed when I double majored in computer science and fine art, but it's opened a lot of doors.
In New Zealand, we have a huge shortage of competent, qualified carpenters and heavy truck drivers. Funny that it's the older types of trades, it's like they've fallen out of fashion.
The company I work for is hemorrhaging employees. We caption phone calls for people who have lost their hearing. It requires 2 weeks of training. Honestly, it should be 3, and it's a skill that doesn't come easy, but nearly everyone is capable of picking it up. We sit in cubicles and don't interact with anyone, just listen and caption. They'll take basically anyone over 18.
I'm not an employer, but I work in the agriculture industry, mostly in packing facilities as an inspector. They never have enough labor, they are always hiring no matter who you are, they don't drug test, and it's damn near impossible to get fired, unless you f up really bad, like getting in a physical confrontation with a supervisor bad, and even then, the same people will be back next year.
Haven't seen web developers/programmers/software engineers yet, lots of good coders out there, but open seats want client-facing, full stack, MVC, Angular, Sitefinity, MongoDB, Swift, and a glittery unicorn.
5,000 years experience in each.
Even though their whole stack is Java.
Engineers in general, but specifically structural engineers for aircraft, is always hiring somewhere. 1/3 of the industry could retire any day now. Lead and management roles are aplenty. The job requires keen problem solving and math. Typically employers want people with high GPAs if right out of college. This is a field where all the bullshit math and problem solving you did in college matters, and you start to realize you didn't even scratch the surface of analysis in college.
Dog groomer. On average, they make $600 to $700 per week, but to find one is impossible. Let alone one that can groom and manage to be the salon manager.
Data analyst. All of the qualified applicants are coming from India, and go through recruiters who take their cut.
What are the requirements?
SQL, basic Unix scripting, basic Python scripting, college degree, Tableau dashboard creation experience is A+, Excel VBA scripting is also A+.
People to work in nursing homes, physical and occupational therapy, kitchen, big portion is nursing staff. I don't know if it's just the company that's having issues. 2 of our facilities are having staffing issues, but we are constantly understaffed and getting overworked to the point where more people are leaving because they're overworked, management keeps saying.
No one is applying?
But I don't think they're offering people enough to stay/want to work there.
Yep. Nursing assistant here. Caregiving jobs are one of the most underpaid professions. For what we do, they are understaffed at almost every facility I've ever seen. We have a demanding job. Physically, mentally, emotionally, we wipe ass, clean up vomit and get physically and verbally assaulted.
Not an employer, but my hospital has a hard time finding nursing assistants. Who knew? It would be hard to find people willing to wipe asses for not much pay?
Since weed became legal in Oregon, my father-in-law is having a really hard time hiring people for his landscaping business who can pee clean. You can't operate equipment like that while high on weed. It's a safety and a liability issue.
Thanks for watching. Be sure to check out my other videos. Also, don't forget to like, comment, subscribe and ring the notification bell.